This is Vivs here from Design Coder. In this video, let's talk about views and layouts in Android. In simple words, how to build user interface in XML in Android. First question is, what is a view? If you go to Google and if you type Android view class, you can get all the documentation needed for the view class. Be sure to read this first before doing anything else. Notice this sentence here that says a view occupies a rectangular area on the screen and is responsible for drawing and event handling. Now, event handling would be when you click it, long click it, touch it in any way, and all other sorts of events like that. Along with that, if you go to developer.android.com, in the develop link under training, building your first app, building a simple user interface, be sure to read this section completely because this is exactly what we are talking about in this video. So going back to our layout file here, let me remove everything and show you what happens. So right now we got nothing. If you want to make a view, we can go here and simply say view. Notice that I have opened and closed the tag for view, and immediately I get some errors here because Android Studios underlined that in red. It says layout height must be defined and layout width must be defined. We need to specify how wide it should be. We could go here and simply say layout width is, let's say, 144 dp each. So in this case, if you take a look at the preview window here, you see nothing over here. But take a look, if I keep my mouse over here, you notice that this area is being marked as something is present over here. So we need to adjust the width and height to occupy the full screen. The way you do that is to specify a special value called match parent. If you use this value, which is called match parent, it means simply take up all the available width. Now if you go back and take a look at this box here. Let me color the view so that you guys can clearly see what's going on. To give a color, I will use the property called background. And here I can specify a color value. Let's give it a simple yellow for now so that you guys can clearly see what is going on here. So that would be our view. It's a rectangular area on the screen. Take up all the available height. You will adjust the height from some fixed value to match parent once again. And when you do this, notice that now the view occupies the complete screen space over here. And it's not just on this device. In fact, on any device this is going to run, it will take up all the available space, which is why the value of match parent is a special value. So right now I have only one view on the screen. What if I want two views? You can simply go and try to copy this and paste this again. But guess what? You immediately get an error over here. And if you try to click on that error, it says multiple root tags. In Android, in an XML file, you can have only one root tag inside which everything else must be contained. So what about putting this view inside this view over here so that we can have two views, right? That is one idea, right? So if you put this over here, we are going to get an error again. It says view cannot be cast to a view group. Now there is something called a view group that exists solely so that you can add multiple views to it. And if you type Android view group class, you're taken to this link from developer.android.com where you can notice a few things. First of all, it's an abstract class called view group. Second, it extends from view, which means it's a subclass of view. And if you read the statement below, it says a view group is a special view that can contain other views called children. The view group is the base class for layouts and blah blah blah. So be sure to read this complete document for the view group class along with this example over here. So let's get back and let me show you what a view group would look like. What I would do basically is go at the top here and I will say view group over here. Notice that immediately we get an exception over here that says binary XML file error 1 class inflating unknown. And if you click the details over here, you see a very ugly message that doesn't make it clear what is the problem. The problem is view group is an abstract class. You cannot create an object of an abstract class in Java. If you try running the app on your emulator, you will crash and you would see a message that says something like this. The Hello World app has crashed and blah blah blah. If you read the message over here, you notice that it immediately says instantiation exception cannot create or instantiate an abstract class called view group. So how do I use a view group if I want to put children inside or multiple views on the screen? For that, we need to use the subclasses of view group. If you go to the view group documentation here, you notice that there are some subclasses here like linear layout, recycler view, relative layout, and many other subclasses. So let's try using one of these called the linear layout especially. So let's get back to Studio here and replace our view group with a linear layout. Now once I do that, I can add view objects under it. Now that's the best part. Notice how I'm adding view here. For the width, I'm going to say match parent here. For the height, I'm going to say match parent over here. So notice that my view group takes full width and full height, and the view that is contained inside that also takes full width and full height. And notice that it has a green color here. If you take a look at the preview window, you will notice that it completely overlaps the view group which we had, which is why the developer.android.com said that view groups completely contain children inside them. Now, if you want to give a different width here for the view, we can, let's say, 144 dp in terms of width. Notice that now we can see the view and the view group distinctly. The yellow background is our view group, whereas the green area is the view. Let's change the height of our view from match parent to 144 dp. Once you do that, you will immediately notice on the right hand side that now we have our view over here. Notice that it is starting at the top left corner over here. Now languages like English run from left to right, which is why your view starts at the top left corner over here. However, if we were starting from the right, like Arabic or Hebrew, we can customize that as well by going here to the linear layout and saying direction of the layout should start from right to left. In that case, if you take a look, our view starts from the right to left, as you notice. Right now we have one view group, that's our yellow part, and there is a box which would be a single view. Let's try to add one more view. To do that, I will simply copy this view here, and right below it, I'm going to go and paste the code for that. Again, I'm going to change the color so that you guys can make out which one is which view. This time it's going to be red in color. Now if you take a look at the preview, take a look at this. We got a view group yellow inside which we have two views, one of them being green, one of them being red. Notice that they are horizontal. What happens if I add one more? Let's try to copy that as well. So after adding the third item, I have given it a magenta color here. And if you take a look, you will find that the third one goes off the screen. If you click this, notice how the square is highlighted. It goes outside the screen. If you add more views, they will be going towards the right. So a linear layout, as you notice by default, arranges items on the screen from left to right or from right to left depending on your direction setting or locale. Now let's take a look at how we can put these items one below each other, because the linear layout exists in two different flavors. By default, the orientation of a linear layout given by this attribute orientation is horizontal. However, you can also make it vertical by changing the value from horizontal to vertical, and in that case, immediately notice that the items are being put one below each other. Once again, when there are views one below each other, the same rule applies. If you keep putting items, they will keep going off the screen. Notice that we have the cyan over here, and below that I have added one more view here, which is FF0, which would be the color yellow again. But that is not seen because it goes off the screen. Perhaps on a device with a larger screen, you will see this one as well. So remember the fact that things placed or arranged using a linear layout can go off the screen. So now when all the items are neatly stacked, let's take the first green box here and change its width to match parent. Immediately you will notice that it takes up all the available width on the screen. But if you go and adjust the height to match parent as well, then you will notice that it pushes everything else outside. In other words, if you click on this one, you will notice that our highlight indicates it is over here somewhere, which means off the screen. Now if you click on the other views, they are of course outside the screen. You won't even see them here. As you see, this one goes further below over here in the highlight area. So remember that in a vertical linear layout, if someone is going to say that I need full height by giving match parent for the height, the other items won't have a chance to appear on the screen. Same way, in a horizontal linear layout, if someone says I want full width by specifying the width as match parent, then the other items are going to be pushed outside the screen on the right hand side. You can try it out here in the layout XML file yourself to see the results. Now any view group like the linear layout not just allows you to put a view inside, but it also lets you put another view group inside. In simple words, your linear layout can contain another linear layout as well. Let's take a look at why we may need that. We are going to add the green and the red box in the same row, and the blue and the magenta box is going to be below the first two boxes. Let's see how we can make a 2-row, 2-column, 4-box layout here. To do that, I'm going to first need a linear layout here, which I can construct. Notice that I make a linear layout. I give it the full width because I want to occupy the full width over there. For the height, I'm going to say wrap content. Now, wrap content is a special value. It means that whatever is the content of this linear layout, ensure that the height of the linear layout is exactly equal to fit that content inside. So in this case, I'm going to put these two views inside this linear layout. Now notice carefully what happens. I put these two here inside. By default, the orientation is horizontal. Now immediately, if you take a look on the right side in the preview window, take a look at what has happened. This highlighted part now is our linear layout. If you want, I'll give it a color of white. I can go here and add this background attribute, and I can say #FFF to make it white color. So take a look at that. That white color match parent would be the complete linear layout's width. Inside that, there are two boxes and they are arranged horizontally, which would be these ones, the green and the red box. Now notice that the height of this linear layout is wrap content. In other words, the height of the children is 144 dp and the linear layout is tall enough to fit these two children. That is what the wrap content value does. It says, well, find the height of the children and make our height be enough to contain the children's height. So here, if you take a look at the other two blocks, they are as usual. Now I can add another linear layout here and put the last two views inside that as well. So this is a horizontal linear layout. This is another horizontal linear layout at the top. And more importantly, the root linear layout we have is a vertical linear layout. So the way this works is simple. These two children are going one next to each other horizontally because they are inside a horizontal linear layout. These two children are going next to each other because they are inside a horizontal linear layout. Now notice that this linear layout and this linear layout is going one below each other because they are inside a vertical linear layout. That's how it works. And the reason this works is, remember that linear layout is a subclass of view group, which in turn is a subclass of view. In other words, any view group can be stacked one below each other just like a view does, right? So this is the end result you get on your screen after you add the two linear layouts. Now I could give the other one a color as well. I can go here, say, give it a background and make it clearly distinguishable, give it black color here, and you would immediately see that this other linear layout is exactly the same as the first one horizontally. Now these kind of layouts are called nested layouts because there's a layout inside another layout. Remember that to display 4 boxes, we are using 7 objects because the linear layout is also going to be converted into a Java object at runtime. So ensure that you don't use such complex layouts because, as you will see in the upcoming videos, there are simpler ways to accomplish the same results. Now there are certain properties that we haven't discussed in this video, which would be gravity, layout gravity, and weights. And we'll be talking about these in the upcoming videos. In the meantime, thanks for watching. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Have a nice day.